All right, let's talk about something we all do every day. Eat. But have you ever really stopped to think about what's in your food? I mean, really think about it. From the candy aisle to global trade deals, food safety has turned into this massive, complicated, and often totally hidden battleground. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain.
Okay, I know this sounds a little dramatic, but it's the exact question at the center of a huge debate that's firing up right now in Florida. The state went ahead and started testing some of the most popular candies you can buy, and, well, what they turned up has a lot of people talking.
So let's just dive right into the numbers here. Florida's Department of Health found detectable levels of arsenic in almost 2/3 of the 46 candies they tested. Now, to give you some perspective, 1 part per billion, a ppb, is like a single drop of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. It's tiny. But as you can see, a Tootsie Fruit Chew hit 570 ppb. Jolly Ranchers, Nerds Gummy Clusters, both over 500. Now, officials were quick to say, look, the risk isn't from eating one piece of candy. The real concern is about long-term cumulative exposure, especially for kids.
And this is how Florida's government is framing the whole thing, as an issue of transparency. The argument is pretty simple, right? Parents should know what's in their kids' food so they can make their own informed choices. The point isn't to start a massive recall tomorrow, but to shine a light on these hidden contaminants.
But you can bet the candy industry had something to say about this. They fired back, and they fired back hard. The National Confectioners Association called the whole report a misguided scare tactic. And their main argument is this: Florida used its own unique screening levels, not the official federal standards set by the FDA. So they're saying the state is just creating fear and totally ignoring the established science. It's a classic standoff, really. A state sounding the alarm versus the industry and the federal regulators.
So, this whole fight over candy, it's not happening in a vacuum. It's actually just one battle in a much, much bigger war being fought over food additives. A national movement that's starting to change what our grocery store aisles actually look like.
And a huge driving force behind a lot of these changes is this initiative called Make America Healthy Again, or MAHA for short. It was spearheaded by the Trump administration, and its goal is pretty huge: to fight chronic disease by taking a really hard look at everything from the food we eat, to environmental toxins, to the drugs we take.
And MAHA's goals for food safety are, well, they're ambitious. They're going after synthetic dyes, and they want to reduce heavy metals in baby food, which, ties right back to that candy testing we just talked about. But one of the biggest targets on their list is something called the GRAS loophole. GRAS stands for Generally Recognized as Safe, and it's a system that basically lets companies approve their own new ingredients without any FDA oversight. It's wild. MAHA wants to shut that down and push for more clean label products with ingredients you can actually recognize.
If you want to understand why this is such a big deal, just look at the difference between the US and Europe when it comes to food dyes. In the US, the philosophy is basically prove it's dangerous. An additive is considered fine until someone proves it's harmful. But in Europe, it's the complete opposite. They say prove it's safe. You have to show an ingredient is safe before it ever gets near a supermarket shelf. And the result? Europe slaps warning labels on 6 different food dyes that are used every single day in the US with no warning at all.
So what does this all mean for you when you're actually at the grocery store? Well, it's a mixed bag. On the one hand, you're definitely seeing more of those clean label options pop up, which is great. But on the other hand, you're trying to navigate this really confusing patchwork of different state laws. And of course, as companies have to start reformulating their products for all these different markets, it could end up meaning shortages or even higher prices for us.
Okay, so now let's zoom out even more. Because this isn't just about what's healthy. Food safety standards have become these incredibly powerful tools in global trade and politics. What a country decides is safe can absolutely be used as a weapon in economic fights.
I mean, just look at these examples. You've got US lawmakers using a trade deal to pressure Canada over its dairy rules. At the same time, the US is in this huge fight with the EU over who's allowed to call their cheese Parmesan. And then you have these massive ethical debates, like when Nestle was accused of adding sugar to baby food sold in Africa, but not to the exact same products sold in Europe. So yeah, make no mistake, food safety isn't just about science anymore. It's about power.
Okay, so we've gone from state-level squabbles all the way to global trade wars. It's a lot to take in. So for this last section, let's bring it all back down to earth, with a practical playbook you can actually use to navigate this new reality. Right. After hearing about arsenic in candy and conflicting government reports and international food fights, this is the question. How are you supposed to cut through all this noise and just eat safely?
Well, most experts suggest a four-step approach that's really about building smart habits, not about panicking. First up, diversify your diet. Seriously, just eating a wide variety of foods is one of the best ways to limit your exposure to any one contaminant. Second, read the ingredient list. Just favor products with simpler ingredients you can actually pronounce. Third, trust the right sources. Pay attention to official recalls from the FDA or the USDA, not just some scary headline that goes viral. And fourth, and this one's huge, don't forget the basics at home. Proper cooking, proper storage, that stuff still prevents a massive number of foodborne illnesses.
And hey, speaking of recalls, here's one last thing to keep in mind. Seeing more recall alerts isn't always a bad sign. A lot of the time, it just means our detection systems are getting way better at finding problems that would have slipped through the cracks years ago. So in a strange way, it can be a sign that the system is actually working.
So, we end up right back where we started, but with a different question. This whole food safety world is a constant balancing act between regulators, giant corporations, and your own choices. And as the rules keep shifting, the real challenge for all of us is deciding who we trust and how we make sure that trust is earned. Thanks for watching.